The Olympics have come and gone, and Bafana Bafana did not make it out of the group stages. With that said, we at Afrik Football watched all the matches and found a silver lining for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. So in this video, we'll look at the team's best performing players, then we'll talk about the most disappointing players for this tournament, plus we'll give you our sensible transfers for which European teams we think these youngsters should be aiming to play for in the future. Welcome back to Afrik Football, guys. If you're new here, we drop 3 weekly videos, so be sure to subscribe and like this video as we drop dope content. Let's get started. To start it off, we'll look at the players which we were most disappointed with in this team. The starting point has to be Coach David Notowane. The coach display is what we term a complete disaster class of the subs department. Going into this tournament, he was held for his team selection and the players that he had called into the squad. But going into the games, he seemed to have lost his team picking senses, worse off his substitutions in the France game were a mere disaster. The sentiment of the coach being to blame for the boys' poor showing was echoed by eDiskit TV's Ngcobo on his Facebook page, where he stated and hinted that the substitutions by Notowane were sabotage to his own rights. He further stated that the shift of the attackers to the defenders was somewhat of a wrong call. We at Afrik Football share the same sentiment expressed by our brother and hence give Coach Notowane a 3 out of 10 rating for his poor showing. Our second disappointing player is the new Orlando Pirates signing Thabo Cele. We have rated this player highly on this page in several videos and we believe this tournament would be his crowning moment as the future of South African football. But upon his debut in the Olympics, he was less than impressive. Off the mark, he seemed to struggle and throughout the game, he did not get a foothold on the Japanese opponents, which saw him not start in the subsequent game against France. For his poor performance, we give this youngster 3 out of 10 rating. Our third disappointing player comes in the form of the captain Pepe. Some says he is to blame for that 1-0 scoreline against Japan, and further he had failed to inspire his side in the 4-3 loss to France. Worse off, in the very last game, he received the red card against Mexico. For the most part, Pepe was passive in his team participation and did very little to motivate the team's morale. And for this, we're giving him a 3-star as we think he would have had a big team impact if his mentality was right and he had risen up to the challenge. Our fourth and most disappointing player comes in the form of Singh. At the age of 23, it seems we have been hyping this star to shine for a while. Since his time at Braga B, it seems he has not made much of his career. Officially drafted into the Bafana Bafana rankings in the under-20 team, he got 9 goals for that team and was the driving force behind that team. But Singh declined after that, and that French penalty miss showed us that this player is all bark and no bite, which is disappointing. He has tried to show some flashes of brilliance in the Olympic Games, but it amounted to little to nothing. For this performance, we give Singh a 2 out of 10 rating. Do you agree with this rating? Let us know in the comments below. And moving on to our players that impressed us during these games. To kick it off, Ronwen Williams came out and showed up the boys during these games. In the very first game, Williams highlighted why he deserves a move to one of the big 3 clubs in Mozambique. During the Japan game, he made a number of epic saves that kept the team afloat even though the defense was poor ahead of him. We believe Williams justified his selection on the overage player slot and he did all he could in the circumstances. Even though he conceded 4 goals in the France game and 3 goals in the Mexico game, we do not blame him for most of these goals to the coach Notowane as we've mentioned earlier. For us, he earns a rating of 6 out of 10 in our books. The second impressive player for us was Kodisang. Still under the books of Braga B, we hinted at this player in one of our sensible transfers and that he's due for a big move. Coming on as a sub in the Japan match and later becoming a starter in the second match, he showed the opponents flames. His pace, his tempo and persistence on the left wing showed us that he's stationed in Europe and is well adapted to the French game and the European game as wise. Kodisang got a goal and assist in the French match, which probably made him South Africa's man of the match. And in our book, 6 youngster gets a 7 out of 10 for this whole tournament and we see great things in his future. Our third impressive player comes in the form of Evidence Ngcobo. To be honest, when Paris signed this player, we knew he was destined for great things. He showed that he would perform at this biggest stage with 2 goals that he got in a friendly against Uganda before this tournament. With a goal in the France game and hitting the post on previous games, we believe Ngcobo is always a goal threat and he's not here to play. We tip this youngster to aim for the top and even go for the golden boot in the upcoming PSL season. For his impressive exploits, we're giving him a rating of 8 in this tournament as it showed us real class and attacking instinct, something that is making us very excited for the upcoming season. Before we get to our most impressive player, we would like to give a shout out to Ngcobo and Fosla who travelled later for the squad after playing the CAF Champions League final. These Kaizer Chiefs stars did their part in the France game, and particularly Fosla who brought in a level of competence to the team when he started. Overall, we give both these players a 7 rating. If you are enjoying this video, remember to like and subscribe and share this video with other people because it really helps us, the independent content creators. And now for the most impressive player of the tournament. This impressive player goes to Thabo Cele, formerly on the books of Cover de Paidade, but now without a club. Cele is Bafana's biggest star at the Olympics. Paired with Mokoena in the midfield, Cele has been a breath of fresh air. This player has been cool, calm and collected and has been the driving force of Bafana in many of the particular plays in the France game. He has had a full participation in the Olympic Games and at times it seems like the whole squad is built around him. We give Cele a 9 out of 10 rating for his tournament as he was the brightest star of this team. And we do hope in the future he can sign for a big team and we hope that is soon enough. What do you think of our selections and ratings? Let us know in the comments below. And moving on to some of those moves that we think are sensible transfers for these best performing players. To start off is Ronwen Williams to Pirates. We hinted at this in our sensible transfers, and seeing this ultimately pan out would be something great for us. Seeing that he's outperformed himself at the Olympic Games, there's a possibility that this might just happen. Do you see this happening? Let us know in the comments below. Our second sensible transfer would be Kodisang to Austria. Particularly, we would love to see this youngster shine at a team like RB Salzburg. Seeing that two Zambian players have gone down that road and afterwards had a proper move to the EPL, we think this is an avenue of exposure to the Champions League. His pace and his ability on the left wing will be properly suited for the Austrian football and we think he would shine and later seek a big move to the English Premier League. Our third sensible transfer would be Thabo Cele to Italy or Kaizer Chiefs. This youngster will have a steep price tag registered to his name and an Italian team would be something where he would need to thrive. Seeing that he has an extensive midfielding ability, we think Italian teams would mostly appreciate this player's abilities. But a move to Kaizer Chiefs wouldn't be a loss, but a gain to South African football as a whole. But we're sure Chiefs cannot pay a huge price tag, and seeing that he's out of contract, we think he could be a good signing for Chiefs to build around going forward. What do you think of these suggestions? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Afrik Football. We'll see you in the next one.